I'd like to welcome everyone to Chateau Lanes in Winnipeg, Manitoba for the 35th annual Manitoba Open. I'm Darren Cini, joined once again by Mike Borowski. Mike, welcome back to NDBowlTV.
Thank you very much, Darren. Some really big numbers out there today.
Yeah. We are currently finishing up the position round. So once we gather our final five, we will fill you in on whoever that may be, and we'll start our first match here on 15 and 16. After each match, we will be rotating to the pair to the right and then back to the left again, so we will be moving our cameras as needed. We are all playing for the top prize of $3,000 here today. Second will get $1,800, third $1,200, fourth $1,000, and our fifth place finisher here on the show will get $900. So a pretty good prize fund.
It is a pretty good prize fund. They had a total entry of 84, Darren. Not bad, actually, considering that through the years it's been tough to maintain the level, and this year to keep it at 84, 85 was really good. We were hoping for 100, of course, and the Nielsen family would have been very, very happy because they worked very hard every year to make this tournament pay off for the players. And
it is a very, very well-run tournament, and you know, regardless of entries, I can say one thing: the 24 that made the cut today are a pretty stacked field of bowlers. You have Hall of Famers, you've got World Cup champions, you got pretty much a little bit of everything out here today.
Yeah, you got some national team Canadian athletes. Mitch Hoope's here. Zach Wilkins is here. They're youth Canadian team athletes. So you got some pretty good players.
And as you can see, we're just kind of finishing up position round here once again. The scores are really close. We have our scores throughout the 7 games, I should say. Going into position round, Andy Mills was leading with a 1761. Nick Heilman right behind him, well, not right behind him, but in second at 1668. We are almost positive here that Andy will be the #1 seed because he did win his match over Nick. And so I don't think anyone will catch him there. Zach Wilkins was in third place with a 1652. Murdoch Little with a 1615. Mitch Hoope with a 1614. Darren Hansen with a 1600. Brady Stearns 1594. Clayton Moore 1581. And Dave Langer 1578. And it's really close across the board, so we're going to have to wait and see who our final five are going to be here.
Yeah, it looks like from position 3 to about 10, there's only about 30 pins separating everybody, so it's really tight. So until they get the numbers sorted out here, we're not going to know who the other players are. But I think Zach has just finished his match and won his match, so I think he's managed to stay in the top 5.
Yep. So while we have a minute, let's go back to yesterday's action. We had 84 bowlers, and they had a kind of a modified beaten path. They added a little more volume to it. This year they're using the fire oil.
Yeah.
Were you here yesterday?
Yes, I was.
Okay, yeah. What did you see kind of?
Well, big changes, very quick. Again, it depended on what group you were in and how you were moving, left or right, or from one end of the house to the other end of the house. There's no question that from the lower end of the house, the lanes played definitely tighter. Mm-hmm. The higher end of the house definitely played more open. So depending on what game you were crossing from one pair to another, you could have opened it up, or you could have been in a little bit of trouble.
Absolutely, and I actually bowled yesterday. I didn't bowl that great, but I did notice a lot of things. I bowled with Nick Heilman all day, and he is likely going to be on our show if he maintains
He'll be close.
Enough pins there. Yeah, it seemed like as long as you had something that could roll out of your hands, you know, get a good roll, because the way these lanes play, the heads go a little quicker than normal.
They do.
So it requires you to have good projection down lane, but you still need the tilt, the rev rate to get the ball to face up and get corners out.
As a player, you had to find a way to get through the fronts. You either had to play a loft game if that's what you had, or if you have natural ball speed, that was great. If not, then you really got to twirl it a little bit off the front so that you can get the scoot right. Otherwise, you were just reading up in the mid lane just like right away. So it was fairly difficult. What I did find is that the players that had a little more hand could get left quite a bit, and they could get left more. And as a result, they just stayed away from all the stuff that was happening around, I would say, between 13 and 17. And because depending on which pair you're on, it either scooted on you or it just jumped right up right away. So it was fairly difficult. And I think we've said this before. I can remember doing this show last year, Darren, and one of the most difficult things that you have to deal with in this center is that the pairs are so different. So you go from one pair to the next, you say, what? You throw your first ball and you say, what happened? And you just had to make sure that mentally you stayed in tune with that and made the tactical adjustment.
And I will say that in a lot of the tournaments that I bowl down in the States, when you go to a sport pattern, a lot of times it requires you to play the lanes from back to front. And then when you come up here, the way the fronts do burn out a little quicker, you kind of have to change your way of applying it. And I talked to Dave Langer, and he's a well-known guy down in the city. He's a very good bowler himself. And he mentioned that here, every time he throws a shot, even when it's 10 feet before the pins, he doesn't know if it strikes or not. And a lot of places where he goes, he could throw a ball and walk away because he knows it's good, but you can't do that here.
No. It seems like you have to watch it all the way, because the lane or the pair that sometimes when the pair you're playing on, the two lanes are distinctly different. I can remember watching one of the games yesterday on 27 and 28. 27 was hooking at the back end. 28 was hooking at the front.
Yep.
So it was just an unbelievable uneven pair, and so it made it very difficult, and you could see people turning around scratching their head like, what happened? So it was very tactical.
I was one of them.
Yeah, when you're trying to score, it's very difficult because you're trying to keep your head in the game and you're trying to see everything that has to be observed.
Absolutely. So I would like to remind everyone watching, if you could, share the link with everyone you know on social media. And if you are not a part of NDBowling.com on social media, you can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. Go ahead and find us there. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. And we will keep you updated with everything going on. Once again, you're watching the High Plains Bowling Network here on NDBowlTV. And we are sponsored by Ebonite. So I'd like to thank all the folks at Ebonite for what they've done for us this year. Once again, we are just waiting for the final five.
Yeah, they're just sorting out the numbers for us, Darren. It's a little bit close, and I wouldn't be surprised if that fifth spot might even involve the possibility of a ninth and 10th frame roll-off or something.
That is possible.
Yeah, and usually for the steps they would do a full game. They wouldn't do a ninth, 10th. So I don't know how close it is, but it definitely is tight.
I would like to mention to everyone out there watching, if you would like to connect with Mike or I in the booth, you can visit the chat room on YouTube, and you can also find us on Twitter. Send us a message and we'll answer any questions that you may have. Looks like they're just making some announcements, but not our final five yet.
No, they're just trying to be very careful. I think Melody has got prize money that she's probably getting ready to hand out to some of the players. There's quite a few of these players that have taken the time to drive, some of them as long as 7-8 hours to get here. So they're anxious, if they're not going to be in the stepladder, to get on their way home. So they'll probably be doing some of those presentations of the prize money.
And while we have a minute, Mike, want to give us a little rundown of what you're about up here and the things that you do to give our fans a good idea of who we're talking to today.
Yeah, I guess most of the Canadians know who I am. I'm not sure if everybody in the US of A does, unless, of course, they've been to international tournaments. But I'm still fortunate enough to be one of Canada's national coaches. I run a pro shop in Winnipeg, right inside Chateau Lanes, and have done so for the last 5-6 years. And have another operation, of course, in my home. So I have 2 pro shop operations.
Very nice.
It's kind of difficult in Canada to run a business in the bowling industry through the summer, because a lot of the lanes go into what we call shutdown hours or different hours. So I always like to have my pro shop open no matter who's coming from where. So, and that's what I mostly do. I coach, of course, locally, and I coach the provincial teams as well as Canada's national teams.
Very nice. Well, I'd like to welcome you again to NDBowlTV, and it's nice having you on set with us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I love doing this show. I've been doing this for a lot of years, and the fact that we got back into it, or I had an opportunity to get back into it last year, was just a wonderful opportunity for me.
Awesome. And I would like to mention, too, that there have been some updates here at Chateau Lanes. They put new scoring in this year, which is actually going to help out our live stream and everything like that. So,
yeah, you know what? In the day and age where bowling, and when we talk about the bowling curve and the participation of our sport, the numbers have actually been going down for a number of years. But when you see people like the Nielsen's putting all of the upgrades and the changes into the center to keep the bowlers here and to bring new bowlers here, which is really, really important. And if you think of our youth across the country, they have a lot of things in front of them now. Today, they can do anything, everything. Not just sports. They have other things that they can get involved with. So to have owners like this that are willing to put the time and the money in and to keep the place not only running smoothly, but also up to the level of technology that it should be. That's pretty impressive.
Very nice. And if you were just joining us on NDBowlTV, we are just awaiting the final 5. And once we get that, we will pass that along to you. If you have any questions, please visit us in the chat room or connect with us on Twitter. We'll answer any questions that you may have. If you want to know how your favorite bowler is doing, once again, just let us know and we'll try to fill you in on everything that we can. The one thing we do know is I do believe Andy Mills will be our top seed, and one unique thing about this tournament is a top seed has to be beaten twice. And has that been something that's been around for a while, or is that something rather new?
It's not really new. We've done this for quite a while, and I can't say how many years ago it was changed, but it was always looked at as a very positive addition to the tournament, because when you talk about the top seed, and generally speaking, that top seed is usually quite a few pins away from the field, and they just seem to have excelled and separated themselves. So to be beaten in a single game match and just not have the opportunity to have another go at it, so to speak, I think it speaks very highly. The bowlers that are there, that have constantly been in the step ladders, really appreciate the opportunity. So,
and I agree, because you see a lot of times on TV shows, PBA shows, everything, that top seed works so hard to get there, and it almost benefits the players in the 2 or the 3. They get that momentum, they understand what the lanes are doing, and then they just take care of business, and it's nice to have that reward for the top seed.
Yeah, especially when you consider when most tournaments, the qualification process is finished, when all the qualifying is done and you've settled on the 5. A lot of times the pairs are re-oiled. For example, on TV, that is generally the case. So you may have been playing on a condition that you figured out, matched up to, and all of a sudden you're on a pair that just doesn't quite get your game matched up. So sometimes it takes a little while to figure that out, and getting the opportunity to protect your lead, so to speak, and have the opportunity to play a second game, I think is a very good thing.
Yeah, and it proves, to be an advantage to them, because I think last year it wasn't. Michael Schmidt came from the 5.
Yep.
He went and he had to beat Clayton Moore twice.
Yeah, and he did it. And he did it. So it's not like it can't be done, right? So it certainly can be done.
Excellent. And see, we're getting a few viewers on here. If you could, once again, please share the link with everyone you know on social media. You are the advertising that we have here at ndbowling.com, so please let everyone know about the show. We'll be underway here shortly with our 4-5 match. Once again, we are unaware of who that may be at this point. The scores are very close. So
yeah, they're very tight, and I think they're double-checking and triple-checking at this point. I think Darren might have snuck in there. He had a pretty strong finish there. I think he might have made it, yeah.
He's giving us a thumbs up that he's in, but we'll see. Okay, he says him and Brady Stearns, so that would be a compelling matchup. Wow. Those two both from Minnesota.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Boy, there's a few Minnesota players here. The top 2 are Minnesota.
All right, let's listen in here. Andy Mills, number 1. Zach Wilkins, number 2. Nick Heilman at 3. Brady Stearns at 4. And Darren Hansen, past champion, in at 5. So a very compelling top 5, that's for sure.
Wow. So Mitch Hoopy did not make it. He had to beat Darren on that match. They were actually playing the position round together.
So the way it looks, Darren Hansen will be our only left-hander in the final 5. I don't know, the left side, it didn't seem to open up as much as it did today.
There wasn't enough traffic bodies. Yesterday we had 85 players. Today we had 24.
So let's see how we go here. Looks like we'll get 2 balls on each lane. Once again, Darren Hansen versus Brady Stearns in the first match. The loser in this match will take home $900, which is still a good payday for.
Really is, yeah.
And they did raise a total prize money of $18,210, so a lot of money given away at this tournament. And if you haven't come out and bowled this event before and you would like to, I highly recommend doing it. It's a very good event. Yeah,
tremendous opportunity. I mean, it's a $160 entry. That is not out of reach, and for that kind of money, the opportunity to win $3,000, that's good.
And as far as our NDBowlTV goes, I think this is our first appearance for both Darren Hansen and Brady Stearns on NDBowlTV. I know we've only been around for a couple of years, and we did the show here last year, but these are, newcomers to our show, and Hansen is no stranger to this setting. He's won this tournament before.
Yeah, he has several times, actually.
Brady, a nice young bowler out of Minnesota. I know he's been working hard on his game, and probably good for him to see it pay off here as well.
We should talk a little bit about the condition that they're playing on, just for those people that are watching the telecast and generally bowl in leagues, and we have what we call house shots. This is kind of a modified house shot. It's very close to a house shot from one point of view. The length of the oil is probably the same. The shape is the same. But the thickness in the critical areas where normally you would get area to miss, you can't. For example, if you miss right on this shot, it ain't coming back. So if that's what you get when you miss right on a house shot and it comes back to the pocket, you've got some room to miss. Well, you do not have that room to miss here. So you have to be fairly accurate on this pattern.
Yeah, and if those of you who did not read the preview that we wrote up on ndbowling.com a few weeks ago, they are using the Kegel's Beaten Path oil pattern with a higher volume than what it originally calls for, and they are using Kegel's Fire oil, which is a kind of an attempt to get the back ends going a little more, because the heads here just tend to dry out a little quicker.
They do.
And then your ball kind of floats. So I think they were trying to combat that with the Fire oil to try to get a little more action down lane.
Yeah, it's a combination of sanding, and when we talk about the lanes here, there's 30 lanes. They've been resurfaced with sanding pads probably 5-6 years ago. And so part of that is trying to recover and protect, because that's why we put oil out, to protect the surface. Don't shake.
Okay, so they're just going to finish up their warm-ups here, and we'll be underway with our first match, Darren Hansen against Brady Stearns. And we do have a final score sheet here, and it looks like our top seed once again was at 1998, and then a big drop off to Zach Wilkins in second at 1887. Nick Heilman was at 1872. Brady Stearns at 1861. Darren Hansen at 1855, and then it dropped down to Dave Langer in sixth at 1814. Mitch Hupe at 1802. Clayton Moore at 1801. So the scores were really close.
It was tight. Very tight. Thank you for that information.
All right, looks like we have a good crowd here as always at the Manitoba Open, and we'll be underway here in a minute. And once again, just want to let everyone know that the new scoring system here, the scores will change sides depending on which side the bowler is bowling on. So if you see their scores go side to side, that'll be why. So we're underway here.
As Megan Savage very quickly gets the color changed on the screen so we can see it a little bit better. This is going to be an interesting match. Anytime you start with a match with one left-hander, one right, nobody's going to help each other. You're on your own here, so you've got to figure it out.
And what's interesting about this stepladder finals is that we bowl one match on 15-16, and then we go to the lane to the right, which is 17-18, and then we go back to 15-16 each match. So it's not like you can rely on, having a good lane or having a good pair. You gotta be able to work your own shot into each of these two pairs here.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, Darren, because anybody coming from the 5th position and winning the first match and then winning the second match now has an advantage, a distinct advantage, because they're going to go back to the pair they started on and won on. So nothing's changed there. Nobody's bowled on it.
Okay, first frame for Stearns. It's a good shot there. I believe he's throwing a haywire by roto grip.
He throws a pretty good-looking ball. He's got a very high rev rate. It's a little bit of a twister. He's not as forward roll as Andy is, but a lot of ball speed.
And Darren Hansen, I believe, is throwing motive equipment, so we'll see what he's throwing here. I believe he's got a tag on the rack. Let's see what else he's got.
I talked to him earlier. He's very motivated. That's what he told me. He was very motivated. So
yeah, I think that's what all the motive bowlers say.
Yeah.
Okay, good shot there by Stearns. So a quick double out of the gate.
Yeah. So as we had about I think about 5 or 6 left-handers that made the cut, Darren. Of all of them, and I chatted with a couple of them and noticed reaction from some of them. It looked like Darren was the only one that could match up early on it, so he never got in trouble, and he just kept biding his time and staying in the game.
And I have to say, out of all the lefties that did make it, the highest rev rate is on our show right now.
Yeah,
so,
he is. There's no question.
Some other notable lefties that were out there, Matt McNeil, he finished about 10th. Eric Parvey in there. Wade Scott also made the cut. And
wow. Good. Trying to get the crowd warmed up.
And I know many of our Canadian faithful out there are wondering where our defending champion Michael Schmidt is, and he finished what looks to be 22nd place. It wasn't the best day by his standards, but you can always count on him in the cut.
Oh, absolutely. Very surprised he wasn't up a little higher, but like I say, the shot played very different today than yesterday.
Oh, wasn't able to trip the 3 on that one. So.
Yeah, he's been light on both shots. He tripped the one on lane 16, but that one was holding out a little bit more.
And I talked to McNeil a little bit earlier, and he said he was having a hard time getting the left lane to hook on the left side. Each left lane would seem like it wouldn't hook as much as the right. So something to keep an eye on in this match, especially.
Yeah, it's interesting he said that, because Darren is definitely having a trouble getting the ball up on that left lane.
Well, once again, if you guys are in the chat room, let us know where you're from, where you're tuning in from. If you have any questions for Mike or I, just let us know. We'll answer them as quick as possible.
I'm often asked by a lot of younger kids, how do I get on the team? How do I make the Canadian team? Get involved. Get involved with your league, local tournaments, and your provincial local tournaments. You need to taste it.
Good shot there by Brady.
Very good shot. He's packing them in pretty tight.
Yeah, even in the position round, I think he had a late 6 or 7 bagger in there to pretty much lock it up for him. So,
I was fortunate enough to see Zach in Game 7. He shot a 258, and I watched 7 of the most perfect shots off his hand that I've seen in 2 days.
Wow.
And speaking of perfect, Mitch Hoope shot a perfect game out of the gate yesterday.
He did, and there was a guy that also shot 290, and he didn't win a high game pot with it.
That was Joseph Franceschi, a local.
That looks wide. And well, like you mentioned that earlier, you miss right, it's not coming back, and that shot there proved it.
Yeah, see, and Andy, because his roll is a little more end over end, can slip it a little bit and get away with it, but he's a twister. His track is definitely tilted a little bit more, so when he misses right, he gets a little bit too much skid. Just no room for recovery outside there. And this is the distinction, the difference between this shot and the house shot. The miss right, you cannot get away with it. They talk about ratios and sports shots and house shots, and house shots, the center oil is probably 30-1 compared to the outside. In this shot, it's 4.5-1. So if you tug it in, you're not going to get away with it either.
Right, yeah, there's not much in room either, so.
Yeah.
So now Hansen up. He's got an opening here off the Stearns Open in the 4th, so we'll see if he can take advantage of that. He's on his good lane now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he tightens up a little bit, because even this one was a little bit light. Whoa.
Well, maximum penalty there.
Yeah. I'm not sure he got that to go where he wanted to. It looks like he tweaked it in a little bit, and it just did not get all the hold he needed. He's a very heavy hand.
And it almost seemed like it was a reaction off of his tripped 3-pin on the last shot. He wanted to make sure that that one kind of covered the head pin a little more, and it kind of took off on him.
Yeah,
so.
it overreacted. That's exactly what happened to it.
And there he went and got none on the count, so that might prove costly later.
That is not good, considering that he had a spare up. He got the 9 count, but to open that frame is bad enough. That's 5 pins gone.
So 5 and out there for Hansen in the 4th. See if he can recover here.
Oh, much better ball.
Shot there.
Much better ball.
And he is throwing a motive tag right now, so.
Yeah. And that, generally speaking, is for get me down the lane a little further, so it's not a lot of differential, so it doesn't hook a lot. So this is the lane where he missed on previously.
Shot looks okay.
Wow, that set up high too, boy.
Seems like every shot he's had on that lane has looked like it was about to go high, but it still carries out.
Exactly.
And we touched upon that with this surface. Most of the ball kind of sets up really early on the lane, earlier than most centers that I've been to. So the back end is not as reactive.
Yeah.
And those shots there by Brady kind of shows that it doesn't. You think it's going to go dead left through the nose, and
it doesn't.
Actually rolled up pretty nice for him.
Yeah.
So. That looks okay.
Wow.
Might have got a handful on that one.
Yeah, he may not have got that off his hand quick enough. Just helped it down the line a little bit. I think what is interesting about some of these bowlers that we have in the stepladder is that they all have different games. They're not the same. So that's actually very nice to see, because that means they've been matching up with their tactical game.
Right.
That's how they made it. They worked very hard at it from pair to pair. Good spare.
Once again, the winner here will take on Nick Heilman in our next match. We'll be over on 17 and 18. And Nick was on our show last year. And he, along with everyone else, lost to Michael Schmidt because Michael ran the ladder last year. So we'll see if maybe we can have another winner out of the 4-5 match.
That'll be interesting.
Very possible.
Yeah. Well, Darren's behind the 8 ball here, so he's really got to get something going. Much better roll.
That was a really good shot.
No help on that one. He just trusted that one.
So that's a big double up on the board, and if he can get this one here, make Brady think about it a little bit, going up in the 7th and the 8th. So.
Yeah, all he's lost is the count. I mean, they both had a double and an open, so they're close. It's a tight game. It's interesting, as I was watching the players play yesterday and today.
Ooh.
Wow, that's a tough break. He did not expect that reaction.
He's motioning there like it kind of squirted down lane on him and didn't do what he thought it was going to do.
Yeah, the last shot he had in that lane was just beautiful. It was perfect. If he tried a little bit of miss left on that, and it did not take, it did not recover. So both the right and the left side are the same. If you miss a little bit too much away, it's not coming back. So interesting, as many years as we've had this tournament at Chateau Lanes, 35 years, there's a lot of bowlers that aren't in the game anymore, but they came yesterday to watch the Manitoba Open. So we had quite a few people in here, big crowd, steady crowd, regular crowd, people that haven't even been here in a year or so.
Right.
It was pretty interesting to see. This has always been a showcase for our sport in Manitoba.
I would like to point out too, I was looking at the past winners over the last few years, and in the last 10 years, it's been either Michael Schmidt winning or a left-handed bowler. And if Darren Hansen loses today, we could kind of break that trend.
Yeah.
And he's the only hope for the lefties, and Michael Schmidt is not on our show, so he cannot win the event.
Exactly. You're right. It has been one or the other for the last few years.
Yeah, all the way back to 2005, it's been either Michael Schmidt winning, which he's won 6, or a left-handed bowler, and that might change today unless Darren Hansen comes up with a big end of the game here. He needs help too.
Yeah, he usually finishes pretty strong, so we'll see what pressure is on him on. Wow.
See, it looks like that left lane's hooking more for Brady.
Yeah, and it's a little over-under for Darren, so that's interesting. It looked to me like Brady made a move on the right lane, and he still came up high. In fact, a little bit higher. He may have got fortunate to get away with what he did there. So I think he's moving and it's hooking. That's what it looks like to me. It's probably he has to move more than he thinks he has to move.
Big spare conversion here.
Now, this is not an easy one.
When he leaves a 3, so now up in the 8th, he's got a 151. This is the opening for Hansen. Put a double on the board and make him think about it going into the 10th frame, because Stearns will finish this match first.
Yeah, he'll have the last 2 frames, so Darren definitely has to put up the strikes to put the pressure on him.
Yep, Stearns does have the opportunity to go up in the 9th and 10th to shut him out here, so if you're Darren Hansen, all you can do is put up a double and hope you have a shot.
Well, he had a really good shot on this last one, so I'm expecting if he plays the same area, he's definitely got it.
Oh, trip 6.
That was close.
So now the one thing to think about as well is Darren Hansen has one more shot on that left lane. He gets to finish on his good lane. Brady Stearns has to finish on the left lane that he's been having the issues with.
Exactly, especially when you consider the last shot he had there. So this will be very important. Well, nothing will happen unless Darren does get this shot, though. There will be no chance otherwise.
Yeah, he's got to have it. He can still max out at 205, so got to have the strike here. Wow, got it.
He definitely played that one straighter. He did not let that one go left at all. He has a nice, not just a high rev rate, but a nice end-over-end roll, so he's not twisting at all.
So now here's the situation. Brady's up here. He can shut out Darren. I think he's got to have 3 here to shut him out.
Yeah, he does. Well, this is the right lane. He did make an adjustment on it, but I don't think it was enough. He's definitely in more.
Carries a 9.
And tripped a 9.
It's one thing you saw a lot of yesterday was a lot of 9 pins like that.
Yeah, just falling over.
So now Stearns will be up on what we think is his bad lane.
Yeah.
He hasn't struck here since the 2nd frame.
And he made an adjustment on the last frame, so that didn't work. So he's definitely going to have to do something else.
The last 2 shots went really high on him, even after making an adjustment. So interesting to see what he does here.
He's really contemplating this one. He's moved some more left.
Yeah, he gave that one a lot more room, and it never recovered.
And that's the tough part about this shot. If you just give it too much angle with your feet alone, it just sails right and it just does not recover. You have to kind of take the line with you, like maybe a 1.5-1 or a 3-2 left. But if you just move your feet, it just creates too much angle away.
especially once you get in onto that head oil that hasn't been completely burnt out. Your ball does not read the front part of the lane like it did.
Yeah, like it was. Yeah,
a couple boards to the right. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is tricky. And it's very tough to make a ball change, so he just made the move based on what he had.
And that's an open in the 10th for Brady, so
wow.
He's going to finish out with a 179, so that left lane turned out to be this kryptonite.
And we talked about that.
So now Hansen, he gets a finish on his good lane.
You should know, Darren, these two pairs are not easy. 17 and 18 is tough. 15 and 16 is tough, and this is exactly what I'm saying. No match on the pair.
Mm-hmm.
A little wide. Ooh, came back good though. Is that enough?
44, could have 64. Yeah.
Just needs a spare.
Spare and count. Spare and 6 pins. Yeah, and he did leave a Greek church, so
it's true.
On this lane, so
yeah,
it's not over until first get the spare. Covers that.
Yeah, he's a pretty good spare shooter. Over all the years that I've seen him bowl, as good as he is from a power point of view, he's really got a nice spare game.
Well, he needs 6 pins here to win the match and move on to play Nick Heilman. And our loser in the match will take home $900, so still a good payday.
Still a good payday.
It's got to have 6. And 10 will do.
That was a good ball.
So Darren Hansen will win our first match.
The possibility stays alive. A left-hander may still have a chance to win this tournament.
11 years in a row with left-hander or Mike Schmidt. So, all right, well, we're going to kind of take a quick break here. We're going to move our cameras. We're just like to remind everyone that you're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network. All right, we got 2 shots on each lane for this match here. It'll be Nick Heilman against Darren Hansen. Brady Stearns finished in 5th for $900. Nick Heilman was on our show last year. He also made the Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout show and did win the Great Plains Scratch Classic down in Sioux Falls on NDBowlTV back in November. So we've seen him quite a bit here on NDBowlTV. Once again, I'm Darren Cini, joined by Mike Borowski, and you are watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network. We will be in Minot next weekend on Sunday, so tune in for that one. You can also find us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube page. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. And NDBowlTV is sponsored by Ebonite, the official bowling ball of NDBowlTV. So Mike, what do you kind of see happening in this match?
Well, neither player at this point has any advantage because they've not played in the pair. So their warm-ups are really, really important. They have to see what they have. I suspect because we had two right-handers on this pair in the position round that there may be a shot that's set, a little bit set in the area that they're playing in. So, Mr. Hillman had a chance to play on this pair.
He did. He was on this pair for position
exactly.
round,
so he's matched up. I don't think he's going to see anything different than he had. He's just probably confirming.
Right.
On the other hand, Darren wasn't there.
Right, and it looks like Heilman will be starting here on the left lane. That's a nice shuffler reaction there, and sometimes I've learned in this building that that's the better hit than the solid pocket hit.
Yeah, because it's back row, and a lot of us believe it's the pins that we're playing with. But, you know, that's not always the case, I guess. But maybe it's the player, too.
Yeah. Hey, I found that the light hits were striking a little bit better, so.
Yeah. The really packed in hits with these pins are back road. There's no question. He's playing a little deeper on this lane.
Now with a little less traffic, like you were saying, you know.
He may have to play a little straighter than he thinks. I'm not sure, although he does have a lot of hands, so it doesn't mean he can't get it back. It's just the lane may not let him.
And the winner of this match will take on Zach Wilkins, the two-hander. He is a Canadian national team member, isn't he?
He is, and I'll tell you, he has gotten so good in the last couple of years. Nice spare by Darren. That is a really tough spare to make. Anytime it's more than one pin, boy, you have to pay attention.
Yeah, Zach Wilkins and Nick Heilman both made our show last year, so there are returning guys on the show.
Yeah.
And I think many that are in the building right now are waiting to see Zach Wilkins as well. So.
Yeah, I have some youth players here that are actually looking forward to seeing him in the steps because they watched him all day yesterday. He's got some pretty impressive credentials, Zach.
Ooh. He couldn't get the shuffler with the 10
Wow,
pin there.
that was a pretty good looking ball. That was a bad break. So we talked about the center always constantly upgrading. One of the things they've done is put a brand new set of pins in, and it makes a difference. We've been playing with pins through the years that have lasted, and anytime you put a new set in, you're going to get different carry. Mm-hmm. So it's an adjustment period. I don't think any of these locals or the people that entered the tournament notice because they're just trying to match up the lane. And it's either good carry or it's not. It's
right.
Sometimes it's your day and sometimes it's not.
Yesterday was not my day.
It wasn't your day.
For those of you watching, wondering how the NDBowling.com guy did, not very good.
Yeah, I did not bowl yesterday. I wasn't physically ready to bowl. I didn't think I could compete at the level that this tournament would demand. And you know, as a pro shop operator here in the lanes, sometimes I'm just too much in there and too much out on the lanes coaching and not getting a chance to bowl as much as I'd like to. So we lost one of our biggest scratch leagues at Chateau this past year, and that was the Classic League. Oh, that's a tough one. He did not like that one
Yeah,
off his hand.
Yeah, he missed way left. So
for us scratch bowlers, we've lost a league to bowling, and for me, because I'm so busy coaching the youth and many other adult bowlers and Canadian team athletes, it just made it difficult for me to put the time in. So I'm going to prepare next year.
Okay, just cover the spare, kind of forget that shot, and move on. He had a good double to start, so he's definitely not in bad shape.
He just has to leave that one behind. That was just a bad shot. Can't count it. I'm surprised he wasn't a little more comfortable, but he started with a double. I'm not sure what happened there.
Now Hansen up on lane 18. Has yet to strike. He did leave that slasher 10 on 17.
Yeah, typically lane 8 in our regular league play has always played a little tighter than 17. So he's made an adjustment. That was a good one.
That was a lot further right than
absolutely
than the last one.
Yeah, the other one just he sent it out too much. And mostly I think it's the pattern, Darren, that just does not give us a chance to get it back. It just doesn't permit you to get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. We're testing accuracy, right?
Absolutely. That's what this tournament's all about.
Yeah. And 10 games to qualify, that's a grinder. If you play internationally, 6-game blocks are the max. So the only other time that would be any different is if you played in the Masters and qualified.
Mm-hmm. Hansen up in the 4th. That one was inside, but he got away with it.
That's a fair trade.
Yeah. Big double there for him.
He knows that was a bad one.
You're going to have to take that one and run.
Yeah, he's talking about horseshoes on that shot. I think he took it all.
Yeah. Ooh, got the 10
ball
out there, yep.
Yeah, good looking ball.
And you know, talking about Darren's last shot, he, you know, it went high, it took out the split and everything. As an opponent, you know, are you the kind of guy that likes to watch those kind of things, or do you just, you know, we had a show earlier this year down in North Dakota at the Kickoff Classic, and the winner, Mike Morris, who you might be familiar with.
Yes, I am. Very familiar,
He mentioned that he doesn't like to watch his opponent bowl for that reason. And, you know, what's your take on that? You know, does it get to your head if your opponent throws a Brooklyn on you, you know, for a 3-bagger, or would you rather not watch?
Well, me, it doesn't. I don't mind. But there are some players that know it bothers them. They should not watch. Mm-hmm. You have to know who you are, and you have to put yourself in the setting that makes you the most prepared. And if watching bothers you, don't watch.
And I can say one thing. I bowled with Nick all day yesterday, and it takes a lot to rattle this kid. So I'm sure it didn't bother him one bit.
No, he's pretty cool, though. I mean, really, he's a quiet, cool fellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't overreact.
Well, once it gets down to close to the title match and he needs a big strike, you'll see a little bit let out there when he really wants a strike. So.
Yeah. See, Darren's the type of guy that's got to get it out. I mean, if it's bad, he's got to get it out. I mean, sometimes it's just a tap for Darren, a good shot, and he didn't get it, and he can get upset pretty quickly, but usually he lets it go pretty quickly, too.
Yeah, very animated player as well.
Yeah, so. Very much so.
Going for a 4-bagger.
He likes to play the crowd.
Got it.
Wow.
Yeah, you got two contrasting styles here. Nick is a very laid-back, kind of quiet guy, goes about his business. Darren Hansen,
he's very verbal.
Very verbal.
Yeah.
He'll let you know.
Absolutely, either way.
We got quite the match going on here now.
Yeah, this is a good one.
1-pin match.
Good-looking ball. Oh, yeah.
Good shot by Nick.
I think he rolled that one better. I think when I saw him playing in the position round, he was rolling a little more forward. And when he started, he was twisting a little bit, but that was a nice roll.
Heilman now up in the 7th. Trailing by 1.
That's wide. That was way too wide. That was just swing wide.
And like you mentioned, you know, he has that roll off his hand. So if it doesn't get to the point to roll and it skates a little farther,
it's not coming back.
End up with a bucket combination.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just a little too far. A pretty methodical player, though, and from the point of view of spare shooting, from what I saw over the last 2 days, he makes most of them.
He is throwing a Brunswick Scholar, Mastermind Scholar, and doesn't get the 8 out. So
wow, probably doesn't believe he didn't get the back pin on that.
But that goes to show what we've been talking about this whole show.
The shot setting.
Once the ball gets to the back end, it kind of floats and doesn't roll as much as many expect it to.
Yeah.
So.
Now this has definitely opened the door.
Yeah, Hansen working on a 4-bagger here, and opened by Heilman in the 7th. He's got a chance. It's wide.
Oh my!
Well, that's not going to be easy.
No. Although he does throw a hook ball at that, but it's still a tough spare. It's got to be perfect. He's got to split the middle. He really does.
It looks like they were spotted just fine. Sometimes, you know, the machines will spot them a little left or right, so. Big shot. Is he going to go?
Oh, my.
So he gives it right back. And
so it's almost even again, right?
Yeah, Hansen's got a 2-pin lead. Just like that, he had the door to take advantage of this match. And
absolutely, it was wide open.
And granted, he did miss on that shot, but it was kind of a bad break leaving the 9-10 there.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, even having the 3 would have helped a little bit, and with it all tripping out, that's a tough spare to make.
That's a real tough one to make.
Ooh.
Good looking ball. Off his hand, it looked really good. It seems like on both lanes he's playing them the same, but remember I talked about 18 just giving you a little more skid off the fronts than you'll get off 17. And I think what happens when Darren just floats it out a little bit, he doesn't get it back.
Doesn't like it.
Wow, he did not like that. Nick did not like that.
So do you think that was a reaction after his last shot on 17?
I think it was.
With the bucket there, he was trying to get it to roll up and face up, and just didn't get it far enough right.
He just didn't get it far enough right. He was scared to, I think. It makes you tentative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the best thing to do is just like do a 1-1 left and get a little closer and pick up some oil, hopefully. Yeah, I'm not sure he expected that. I think you're right. He made the adjustment from the previous one and did not get the reaction he wanted.
Well, now Nick's got an uphill battle going here. He had a pretty good start here, opened the 7th and the 8th. Hansen with the strike up here in the 8th has the clear advantage. Got a strike here.
That's a good ball. Oh.
Is he going to get it? No. 4-pin.
Yeah, it was a good-looking ball. It was just a very strong finish on it. And I think from Nick's point of view, I think the right lane or the right side is changing just a little quicker because of the previous match on it. So that's what it looks like to me, because he doesn't seem comfortable.
So with a spare here, Nick can max out at what, 212 looks like? With if he strikes out there at 212.
Yeah, 212. That would be the maximum.
Hansen here, if he spares out, he's got 215.
Yeah, if he gets this hit, I think it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All he really needs is good spare count out.
Yeah.
He's
good looking ball.
Got it.
Good looking ball. He was very positive on that one. In all the years that I've seen Darren bowl in this tournament, I've never seen anything different about his game. Just never. I would tell you about 5 or 6 years ago, he was on a real health kick, and he was like slimline.
Didn't even recognize him.
Absolutely didn't recognize him, but his game did not change.
Right.
He's physically been the same, just been the same all the time. And I'm sure he works on a lot of stuff, but his physical game seems to just remain the same. And sometimes when you've got a game that's a game, keep working on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Wow.
got the 9-10 out on that one.
Wow.
Well, that'll do it.
It's
So
alive. It's alive.
the trend stays alive. I probably shouldn't have said anything on that.
Yeah.
But for those of you just joining us, in the last 10 years here at the Manitoba Open, either Mike Schmidt has won or a left-hander has won, and Darren Hansen is the only left-hander left, and Michael Schmidt is not on our show. So in order for that trend to continue, Hansen's got to run the ladder, which Mike did last year.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a trend-setting thing going on here. And Nick, for his efforts, will take home $1,000, so still a
Not a
pretty
bad
good
payday.
And Darren Hansen will advance to play, I think, the person most of this big crowd behind us is waiting to see, and that's Zach Wilkins.
Absolutely, yeah. He's not a local, but he comes here a lot, and he's friends with a lot of our local bowlers, particularly our youth, Sean Coots and Joseph Francuski and other Mitch Hoope. They all know him. They've been on the Canadian team together, so they've kind of accepted him. Zach is one of us.
and he's the only really Canadian player left on our show.
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
A lot of the locals here want him to win. So.
Yeah, but he does feel like a local to us. It's just that we love Zach. He's a young fellow, and we've been with him for a few years through the ups and downs and the national teams. I have anyway. So, and he's a good player.
And with Zach being a two-hander, what's your take on it? I know there's a lot of, national, worldwide speculation over the two-handed approach. We've seen a lot more of it over the years.
Yeah.
What's your take on the two-handed style?
I'm going to tell you, as an international coach, as a national coach, and I love the sport of 10-pin bowling. I'm an advocate of the sport in many respects, every respect. And to protect the integrity of the game, we've got to recognize one thing. I don't care if you're right-handed or left-handed. I don't care if you're two-handed, bowling with the right side or the left side. But there are some rule changes that we have to be careful of. For example, they're talking about maybe two-handed bowlers should not be able to put their thumb in the ball. Well, that's wrong. I'm going to tell you, as any other sport in the world, if your goal is to make a goal, who cares if you do it with your left foot or your right foot? Mm-hmm. If your goal is to win against the best players in the world and knock down the most pins, who cares whether your thumb's in or out? So to protect the integrity of our sport worldwide, if a two-handed bowler wants to put his thumb in to make the 10-pin spare, let him do it. Mm-hmm. If he wants to keep his thumb out, let him do it. But to advocate and to change the rule and make them throw without their thumb in for the 10-pin, that is taking the personal aspect of the sport away. Every athlete has the right to do it the way he or she can do it the best to their ability. So to protect the integrity of our sport, compared to all the other sports in the world, which do not have any kind of restrictions like this, mm-hmm. we should leave it alone. That is my opinion.
Right.
So
and the one I like to compare it with is the new one the PGA Tour just came out with the anchoring of the putter. And they're not allowing that anymore, and they're trying to define what's anchoring, what's not. And everyone has their viewpoint on it, and it's really interesting to talk to a lot of people on what they say, what they think is good, what they think is bad. And the PBA Tour just saw a two-handed lefty win. That's the first I've seen.
Well, it's going to predominate. There is no question that the easiest way to learn how to rotate the ball at high revs and hook it at maximum revs is no thumb. There is no question. Any youth player that I teach, from youth, very young age, to advanced age, I will teach them that release. You know why I will teach them that release? I want them to feel the way the hand works in one unit. Wrist, palm, pads, fingers. And that's a wonderful way to teach them the feel of hook, even though they can't yet hook the ball with their thumb in. And some players, they're better off just going straight to it. So if you feel that way and you're a bowler and you're not having very much luck hooking the ball, especially if you've got somebody that has coaching credentials trying to help you and you're having trouble hooking the ball, get your thumb out. Mm-hmm. Get your thumb out and at least work on the feeling with no thumb, because you're going to hook the ball first shot. Absolutely guaranteed.
Very nice. And we did have a question in our chat room. How old is Zach? Do you know?
I think Zach is 22.
So our youngest player.
23.
Definitely.
23.
23 years old. So thank you for that question. If anyone else in the chat does have a question, please let us know. And I want to remind everyone that you are watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network, and you can stay connected with us on social media. Please subscribe to our YouTube page, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter for all your updates. We have tournaments out there for everyone, and we will be in Minot, North Dakota for the CMA Memorial Shootout a week from today for the finals of the season's second major here at ndbowling.com. And I would also like to mention that Ebonite is the official bowling ball sponsor of NDBowlTV, and I'd like to thank everyone at Ebonite for believing in ndbowling.com and us here. So thank you.
So just as these two competitors are getting ready to start, I think we want to give a big thank you to all of the help that we had here from our fellow bowlers for the tournament. Yeah. Lots of volunteers. Thank you so much for making this tournament work. And of course, for the Nielsen family, there's Jennifer, there's Melody, there's John Nielsen, there's Bev Nielsen, and of course, Megan, who's the daughter of Melody, Savage. So, Big John, if you're watching, thanks for all your help too. He coaches in the youth program as well. This family works full-time in this bowling center. They're always doing anything and everything they can, not only to make the lanes better, but their restaurant, their lounge area, whatever it takes to keep you here, they want you to stay. And
they raised over $9,000 for this event, so
that is interesting. Yeah, that's good. Absolutely.
So we're underway here in our semifinal match. The winner of this will take on top seed Andy Mills. Looks like we have nothing but orange colors left on our show. A lot of orange. Just wait till you guys see Andy Mills.
Andy is bright.
Yeah. I joked with him a few weeks ago, and I told him, you got to tell me what you're wearing so I can calibrate my cameras for it. So.
Funny. Yeah, both these boys are actually motive bowlers.
It's a ball change there for Darren.
That's a ball change for Darren. He's coming back to the pair he's played on.
Throwing the bumblebee down the lane now.
Yeah. I did not expect that. He did not even take a free shot when he was on 15 and 16 with that ball.
And so now when we move pairs, the champion of the match before does not get two shots on the new pair, correct? Or I guess I wasn't paying attention. Did he get two shots on that one?
As far as I know, they all get warm-ups because they've been changed.
Because you changed.
Yeah, if you stay on the pair and somebody comes to you on that pair, you do not get any more shots because you're lined up already.
So a quick double out of the gate for Hansen.
Yeah.
And he looks to start rolling now.
Yeah, he really is. And keeping in mind that these lanes were not re-oiled for this championship roll-off, right? They went straight from the position round right into the match play. So whatever change has taken place for 8, 9 games now, that's what's there.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
Yeah, he knew it was bad off his hand.
And if any of you want to go and figure out who won some past tournaments, just go to ndbowling.com. You can click on the history tab. We have history as long as ndbowling.com has been around. Since 2012, we have listed winners of all the tournaments that we cover, including the Manitoba Open and the other majors here at ndbowling.com. So if you want to see some good history, go there. You'll also see a good tournament recap of this event come Monday, so please tune in to ndbowling.com for that. We are in the semifinal match here today. The loser of this match will take home $1,200.
Some honorable mentions who missed the cut. Sean Coots, also Canadian team youth player, by the way, won a silver medal at the international tournament last year. And of course, Lynn Gauthier, of course, on the Canadian adult team. She just missed the cut, wasn't that far away. Zach has got the left lane lined up. It's just going to be a matter of carry there.
Yeah, it's a second 7-pin he's left.
Yeah. He has a tendency from a, I'm going to say from a mental perspective, to get a little bit emotionally distraught. So he has worked really hard on that, and he seems more in control of that part of him.
I do remember last year he was in our one of our first matches against Michael Schmidt, and it seemed like that match, both players tried to give that match away, and it ended up going to Michael Schmidt. But I think he could learn a lot from that match, being on our show last year.
Yeah, and he probably did. He probably did. I think he learns a little more every time out, and he has a great deal more confidence in himself now. And he's a smart player. He knows where he has to play because he's two-handed, he's high rev. There's no sense wasting your time trying to play straight. He just got a lot of hook.
Okay, Hansen up in the third.
Oh my.
6-8.
That looks so good.
And I can say I saw a lot of those 4-9, 6-8 combinations this week were very common.
Yeah.
Because of the, like we mentioned before, the way the pattern is, the ball sets up early, and there's a lot of roll going on. You got to get your ball to roll through the pins, and
at the right angle. Yep.
And the consequence of that is a lot of these type of leaves. So you got it.
Now that is a safe shot. He's made some tough spares, this guy.
Yeah. I think you might have heard us talking about, if Darren loses, we won't have a lefty or a Michael Schmidt win.
He's trying to save it.
Yeah, he's trying to prove us wrong here in the booth. So Darren Hansen now up in the fourth. Early lead in the match. 22 pins.
He's a very serious bowler, but he's lots of fun. As outside the arena, he's a character. Oh my! I cannot believe he tripped that. That is two. He's gonna maybe look for another ball or give his head a shake, one or the other.
There was a time a couple years ago when I first, met Darren Hansen at all these tournaments, and we started talking. And not only do we share the same name, we share the same occupation, and we both have a older brother named Derek.
No way.
Except he's a lot better bowler than I am.
Small world. Good looking ball. Oh, this right lane is just holding back on him. It's not all him. He's just got a skid spot off the front. His angle is so acute. He's going like basically through the fifth arrow. So he is way left.
And for those of you watching in the States, we had some near misses from, household names. I know you mentioned some Canadian names that just missed it. Clayton Moore, who has made the top seed on our show in the last 3 majors that we've done on NDBowlTV, he was just out in 8th. Matt McNeil, who everyone knows on the PBA, 4-time Eagle winner, also missed. Todd Savoy, 6-time USBC Open Eagle winner and past champion here. He just missed. Eric Parby, past champion, he did miss. Matt Smolin, Tad Schmidt, all made cut. Well, he got away with it.
Yeah, he's going to take it. He definitely has to make a move on that left lane because the 2 7-pins are the indicator anyway. But I don't know what he did there. I think he just squared up a little bit. I wasn't exactly behind him, but it looked like he just squared up instead of trusting it right. And lane 16 is he's got a little bit too much right on it, and it's not quite making it back. So
I think Hansen, there's blood in the water right now, and this is a chance for him to really get going.
Well, we talked about this. He's coming back to a pair he bowled on, so he may have a little more comfort level with it.
That's a big break right there.
That's 2 high in a row. That's 2 in a row. So.
And you could tell by his release on that shot, like he tried to, feed it
project
a little more.
Yep. Maybe he's gone too much ball, and by that I mean this one tends to store a little more energy. So maybe he needs something to bleed off a little bit.
Okay, covers a spare. And yeah, that's a big break there, because that could have been the opening Wilkins needed.
Wow. Yeah, that would have changed the complexion of the game.
Oh, also, newly inducted USBC Hall of Famer Sam Lanto was also in our cut. How could you miss Sam?
Wow.
Who also wore bright orange, I should say. There's a lot of orange shirts in here today.
The guy that continues to impress me year after year is Mr. Jack Nelson.
Yes, I actually rode up here with him, and Jack's a very good guy.
He's a fierce competitor.
I enjoy talking to him, and he told me his goal is, because he's 66 now.
Yeah.
And he told me his goal is that when he turns 70, he wants to bowl all NDBowling.com majors once, because I don't think we've ever had a 70-year-old or older do that.
Good.
And one thing I got to mention about Jack is we were out eating on Friday night, and I, nonchalant asked him, I was like, Jack, he's bowled every Manitoba Open except one because he had an illness.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jack, so you've bowled 34. How many cuts have you missed? He's like, maybe 3. I was like, Jack, I'm 0 for 6. and you're going to tell me you've missed 3 in your life.
Yeah. I'm so impressed by his efforts. I really am. Oh, that was a good-looking ball. He made the change.
That's what's demoralizing about this pattern is you can struggle and spare your way along, and you finally throw a good one, and you wrap 10, you punch a 4, or you go high for a 9.
They don't. It doesn't seem to give you your percentage, right?
Right.
Yeah. At least a fair percentage of carry.
And you could tell he really wanted that double there, and he threw a very quality shot. And
he really did.
Carry.
Yeah, just to set it up and get it going. The one thing I'm really impressed with, Zach, is his spare game. It's so much better than it's been.
I do remember last year's show, he did miss a couple of easy spares. And
he is definitely, and under the gun, he's making them. He's not thinking about them as life-threatening. He just goes ahead and makes them. And that's what you got to do. You just got to go through your routine and do the same thing you always do.
Oh my! So he goes slasher 7, and now almost a 7-10, but got the 7 to kick and left the 10.
So he's definitely made the right move, but didn't get the face. He couldn't quite face the angle of the pocket that he needed to.
So now, here's some food for thought. You're Andy Mills. You're waiting, and it seemed like, if you're on the right side, that left lane, lane 15, is tough. You're going to bowl your first championship match here on 17 and 18.
Yeah.
If you lose, you got to go to that pair.
No choice.
So it's almost like at that point you got to think, let's get the first one, because I don't think he's going to want to go to 15 and 16 with the way that left lane is going for the right-handers.
He might have a little bit of an advantage. There was only one right-hander on the last match because Darren was there. And he came off this pair on his position round.
Right.
So he may still legitimately have a lineup shot, and he won that position round quite handily, okay, that match. So he may have an advantage, and I think you're right. I think he should go for it, because I don't think I'd want to be going over there.
Okay, so a 3-9 leave. And I will mention Andy Mills did, qualify top by over 100 pins, clear the field. So he had a really good day on the lanes. Looks like he had a good look.
He had a good lead.
He called it a look of a lifetime when I talked to him earlier. And, he was telling Dave Langer, Sam Lanto, some of the best bowlers in the upper Midwest in the States. And
he has a different rhythm on the approach than I've seen in. There's not very many players with that type of approach. It's more like a crawl, I guess you could say. But boy, off his hand, it's the same all the time.
And people have mentioned that to him, and he kind of explains it as it's a good way for him to find his swing in his timing, by having that one, almost like a stutter step in a way.
Yeah, it's almost like a pause, right?
Yep, and we'll see that here in the next match.
Yeah. Wow, good-looking ball. Now, Darren made the adjustment on the right lane. It didn't pay off. In fact, it was almost bad, but he's got to think about that coming back to lane 16. He's got to definitely do something different on that lane.
He's only got to throw there one more time now.
Yeah, that's right. And he has set it up because he's just got a strike on the lane 15. Now, this is the one that Zach's having trouble getting the pocket. He had it on the last shot. Oh, smooth off his hand. Whoa, that was good.
Shot.
You could hardly hear it landing. Yeah. You could hardly hear it landing. You're always on, people that throw with no thumb are very high track bowlers, so their track's going to be very close to the holes. And depending, which way they either go around a little bit or flip up from behind a bit. It'll be skewed one way or the other. But you're always going to hear a little noise. Tick, 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 tick. It's one of the track rings that are just hitting the edge of the hole.
Sometimes the label too, the way it's drilled, the label could be along that track, and you'll hear that.
Yeah.
Somebody's wondering, did Andy Mills win every game in match play? And no, he did not. He did lose game 7, so that's the only one he lost. Big shot here for Zach. Big shot. Needs to double.
Whoops, a little bit out in the lane. Yeah. He has this slight tendency to come up a little bit on that last one he had on 16. He stayed down. You couldn't even hear the ball. That one was a loft, so you knew he came up with a shot. So no Summers have to unload really early. Yeah.
Well, it looks like Hansen just has to, stay behind the line here.
Yeah.
Wilkins can max out at 194.
Yeah, only a really bad shot is going to take him out of this. He's just got to stay clean.
Yep, Phil frames.
Low, a lot of room there.
Got it. Big double.
He trusted that one.
Yep.
Yeah. It's alive. It's still
alive. Darren Hansen is going to try to make it, I think, 11 years in a row between a Mike Schmidt winner and a left-handed winner every year.
That is amazing.
We have not seen a right-handed winner besides Mike Schmidt in a long time.
So,
and if you guys are out there watching, please share our link on social media. We are about to move on to the championship match of the 35th annual Manitoba Open. I'm Darren Cini with Mike Borowski calling the action. Darren Hansen just kind of finishing out this match. It looks like he'll have that one in the bag. And yep, he already does.
Yeah, he does. It's already over.
So Darren Hansen will take on Andy Mills in the championship match. And do remember that Andy Mills must be beaten twice. We're going to bowl our first match on 17 and 18. And then if Andy were to lose that match, we will go over to 15 and 16 for a winner-take-all match. If Andy wins the first match, it's over. And then we'll have a quick trophy presentation, and then we'll hopefully get a word with our winner. So we're going to take a second here, and we're going to move our cameras once again. We'd like to remind you that you're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network. So a quick round of applause there for the Canadian faithful. Zach Wilkins, he finishes in third and will get $1,200. And now we were playing for the big bucks here in the championship match. Darren Hansen, I believe, is a 3-time major winner. I think he's won this one twice, maybe 3 times.
I think he has 3. I really do. I can't honestly remember, but I think he has won it 3 times.
He did win back-to-back once, and I think he won one other time, and then he has won the CMA Memorial Shootout in Minot a few years back. So looking for yet another one. Andy Mills looking for his first major of the Big Four we have here at ndbowling.com.
Now, he's been sitting quite a while, and I wonder about this. I wonder if he should have been bowling somewhere, if a lane should have been turned on. And
they do have 7 and 8 turned on down there, but I haven't seen him bowling
But
much.
I haven't seen him throwing the ball, so I'm just wondering if that was a wise thing. So anyway, we're going to tell. He's definitely got to loosen up. There's no question, and they're only getting a few shots per lane, right?
2 shots on each?
2 shots on each lane. That didn't seem to hurt him. That was a pretty good warm-up. So one of the toughest things that to do is on this last day when you're in the steps is a lot of the players got to get away and get back home and in their cars and driving. So we're fortunate we still have a fair crowd here watching this. So and a lot of them know they can see it on TV too. So of course watching it on their computer is a plus. So the fact that we've got as many as we have here is good.
And if any of you watching do or did not catch like the earlier matches, this show will be uploaded to the NDBowlTV YouTube page in the archives, and you'll be able to watch it whenever you want. It'll just be about an hour after the show, letting everything kind of upload. We do have confirmation in the chat room that Darren Hansen won in 98, 2005, and 2006. So
yeah, I thought it was 3.
Looking to win in 3 different decades.
Yeah, he's been doing this for a while.
That's pretty good there.
You know what? I think he's lined up. I don't think the delay did anything to him.
Yeah, he's had a look like nobody else in the building today.
Absolutely, absolutely. For 2 days, it's just been awesome.
So once again, we are in our championship match of the 35th annual Manitoba Open, the longest standing major at NDBowling.com. Andy Mills looking for his first, Darren Hansen looking for his 5th, which is pretty good because our record for major winners is Mike Schmidt. He's got 6 here at the Manitoba Open and 1 down at the NDBowling.com Classic in Fargo. So he does have 7 majors, and Hansen could go to 5.
Yeah, that would be awesome. He's had a hell of a career. I mean, just so consistent, always in the game. You can say all you want about left-handed versus right-handed, but this guy plays under all the conditions and manages to make the cuts and to be close. He's always close. And you know, this tournament has had a reputation here at Chateau Lanes that I really consider fair to our sport. Mm-hmm. Is that so many left-handers and so many right-handers equally in percentages based on numbers have been able to make the cut and make the telecast. So nobody's ever been shut out. Nobody's even tried to do that. So that is nice about the way this tournament has always been run. And sometimes it's not anything that we do. Sometimes it's just that way because lane conditions dictate and different patterns favor some versus others because of your style of play, not the fact that you're left-handed or right-handed.
Okay, so we are underway here in our championship match. Mills will start on the left. That's a really good look. That is, and he's throwing a Brunswick.
His hand is so clean. It's just in the same spot. His launch angle is the same every time.
He is throwing that new Brunswick Nirvana, which I know a lot of bowlers have really liked that ball.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Darren's going to have trouble with the pair. I don't think they're even to him, but we'll see what happens here.
He's playing
way in from where he was, and maybe that ball is too much. I don't know.
And I think in the back of Darren's mind, I think he knows he's got to strike a lot in this match, and maybe he's trying to make that move before the lanes tell him to, and just to string some things together and give himself a good chance here.
Yeah, unfortunately the pressure is totally on him because Andy has to be beaten twice.
Yeah, so if he loses, it's okay.
Yeah, he's got to pull all the stops. I mean, Darren has no choice. He's got to pull all the stops. He has to go after it.
And if Hansen does end up winning these next 2 matches, it'll be 2 years in a row where the champion has come out of the 4-5 match. So
yeah, Mike Schmidt did it last year. I'm not sure what happened to Mike Schmidt today. He bowled well yesterday. I thought he bowled very well. It just didn't match up the same, and he couldn't find equipment to match up.
Good friend of mine, Matt Smallin, and I were bowling together yesterday, and almost another 9-10 leave there for Hansen. We bowled together yesterday, and Mike Schmidt, I think, was 2 pairs down from us, and you know, we made the comment yesterday that he just didn't look as comfortable as he normally does. And it seemed like there was something, I don't know if he's working on his game, if he's trying to do something different, but he didn't look as comfortable here as he normally does. And I don't know if there's something going on, underlying issue, if he's got, I don't know, any knee issues. I know that was a problem the one year
it was
you and I
last
called
year.
the shot.
Yeah, it was last year in the stepladder. I thought it was his back at the time, but it was actually his left knee. So apparently not. He's like bowling up a storm in his league that he bowls on Tuesday nights, his scratch league. I think he's averaging like 219 or something. It's
Wow.
not his 229 pace, but it's 219. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So I didn't see anything different. It just looked to me he didn't quite match up with the shot, and he had to go deeper sooner than others did, and it just wasn't ready. Maybe I don't know. And today I don't think it was ready. Zach is the only one that seemed to have been able to get to the fifth arrow. Yeah,
and even Andy right now is.
Well, he's between
sliding on 25.
Yeah,
so.
and he's going down like 15, 14, right? Mm-hmm. So he's swinging 12, 10, no more. If he goes wider, he could probably still get it up because of his roll. It's a nice heavy forward roll.
So here we are in the third frame of our championship match. Mills, I think he missed left on that one. Got a little bit of a handful at the bottom. Left the 6. Cover the spare up.
Yeah. Good spare shooter too. When you talk about playing at this level, and there's a lot of good players that were here this weekend, that is so critical when you're on a pattern that is unforgiving. First of all, on your first ball, like you can't miss by too much, so you got to make all your spares. So if you're going to work on anything to get yourself to this level, you've got to make the spares.
Absolutely, especially on a pattern like this.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So Hansen now up in the third. That shot looks better.
Good ball change. Yeah, that's what he needed to do. I think he needed to change the ball. That other ball is, he was having to force it left, and then if he didn't do that, then it would just roll up too early. Knowing Darren, he's not going to give up, so he's going to find something.
Ooh, got one there.
Wow, that was close. That was close, but boy, he threw that with authority. Yeah, I think he feels a little more comfortable with that one in his hand. He might have to adjust a bit on this left lane, but he's close now.
Once again, following this match, we will get a word with our champion after the trophy presentation. Mills now up in the fourth. That ball is rolling real nice for him.
Really nice. It's off his hand is so good. Yeah, it's clean. He does not hit up on it. Seldom hits up on it. It's clean off his hand. So it's like a roll.
And both Nick Heilman and Andy Mills were on that team at the USBC Open back in Baton Rouge that took home the Eagle. So
is that right?
They've been in situations, you know, quite like this, and they bowl together quite a bit. They travel together, and it's good to see him bowling all these events.
I can see why. He's certainly got a great game.
I told him he had to do the yo-yo on the stream, and there it is.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it.
The yo-yo celebration.
I'll have to get it on the replay.
Now Hansen up. Looks like he can continue here. Got a two-bagger up. Shot looks okay if it hooks.
Hung 18. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it on the replay, guys.
So now Hansen with the 6-9 leave. He's only trailing by 2.
It's close.
But with that spare now up in the 5th, Mills with the advantage.
Yeah, he's not going to have any choice because Andy is going to continue to strike. If not continuously, he will get him in pairs at least because that's just the way he's been bowling all weekend. So Darren really has to put the pedal to the metal, so to speak. Now, I don't have a radar gun, but this guy throws a lot of ball speed. That was a great ball.
Really good shot by Hansen.
So these new scores that they've put in here record ball speed as well, every shot. They have them in metric and in miles per hour. So the only thing they haven't quite got done was get them set up perfectly. I think they may be out a little bit, but everybody has at least a relative reference to what they're throwing.
That was another good shot by Mills, and if he can go up here in the 7th and put another strike on the board, he'll have a commanding lead in this match.
Yeah, he's going to put it away. I just can't see him being stopped. I mean, the only way is that Darren would have to run away right now.
Yeah, and Darren needs help.
He needs help.
At this point in the match, he already needs help, and the line looks just too good right now. Shot looks okay. It hooked up on him, though.
Yeah, definitely read early. Definitely read early.
Okay, so he's got a 20-pin lead through 5.
So Darren's got to strike up, though. If he can get 2 in a row here, he might change the complexion of it pretty quick.
Okay, cover the spare.
It's pretty dead eye on his spares, too. He doesn't miss much.
I will say yesterday I had a game where I think I missed like 2 or 3 single pins, just awful. And then when I finally got one, Andy came over to me. He's like, "Hey, nice shot." I was like, I'm going to remember that. And if you're on the show and you miss something,
you're in trouble.
I'm going to say something,
but he's not going to miss.
Yeah, he's held his own.
Okay, this is the one that he cannot leak left. He's got to be down it. The last one just almost left him wide
that was
open.
Better, but it's in.
Oh.
Almost got away with it.
It makes you tentative. That right lane just makes you a little tentative. You can't quite, like the left lane even for Andy is reading up early, right? Mm-hmm. And it's nice and loose for Dare.
Okay, with a spare here, both players will have spares in the 7th, and Hansen will trail by 20. Once again, if Andy Mills wins this match, he will be the Manitoba Open champion. If Hansen wins, we will bowl another one.
Has Andy played in this tournament before? Because
he has, yes, the last few years. Because I know Howman made our show last year, and they traveled together, so I know he was here last year.
So he must have been here, yeah.
Yep.
I just don't remember seeing him in the steps before. So
I don't think he's been in the steps before. I think last year or the year before was the first time those two started coming up here.
Yeah. Well, they certainly came prepared this year.
Yeah, and we'll see both of them in Minot next weekend as well. So maybe they'll be on our show again next week.
Kind of makes me wish I was going to Minot.
It's a very good tournament. It's a well-run tournament in my home house. It's one of my favorites, and it's good for me because I can drive up the hill and do the show. So I don't have to drive 4 hours like this one. So
yeah.
Yeah, we'll be there. So those of you watching, please tune in next Sunday around the same time, probably a little later because we do take 36 today too, and it's 12 games of match play. So it'll probably be around 2:30, 3 o'clock for the show, but tune in to NDBowlTV for that.
Yeah, there's quite a few Winnipeg bowlers that will be going to that. And every year, a number of them go. So I know there's at least 6 of them going this year. There could be more.
Yep. And if you do want to enter the CMA Memorial Shootout, there are spots open. Contact Jeff Craig at North Hill Bowl for that. Andy Mills up in the 8th. Looking to put it away. He got it wide. That was a little wide, so you could tell he'd be lucky to get the 10 out on that.
But this right lane has been really good to him.
It has. Well, the situations like this, with this pickup, he'll maintain a 20-pin lead with 2 frames to go. So he puts a double together, and that'll all but seal it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if he sets it up in the ninth, for sure, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Darren. I don't think Darren can catch him.
And once again, solid on those spares that he called me out on.
He's your friend, is he?
Oh, yeah. I enjoy talking and bowling with both Nick and Andy, so they're good guys. So here we go. Putting up a strike in the ninth will make his 10th frame, I think, a lot easier. Once again, Andy Mills never has he won a major, so this could be his first.
It's a good-looking
ball.
ball.
I think it's wide.
Oh, but he gave it room.
He almost got it.
The last one came up early, so he made a good move there. It almost made it.
So with a 2-pin leave there, he's got 185 in the eighth. So now Darren Hansen can max out at 226.
It's possible.
And if Mills goes, he got it.
Plastic.
He got it. So now Mills can go, 225 if he spares out.
Yeah.
Hansen can go 226 if he strikes out.
Yeah, so it's possible.
So
it is possible.
Hansen can put a lot of pressure on him with a big 9th and 10th here. Those 4 strikes will force Mills to do something in the 10th.
Well, the last one on this right lane was a little high, right? So previous shot on the right lane was light, so he's got to trust this one. I think that's what he's got to do.
Gotta have
Good-looking ball off his hand.
What a good shot when he needed it.
Wow, that was clutch. That was really
Heck of
clutch.
a shot when you need it. So now here's a situation. If he can manage a double here in the 10th, that'll force Mills to perform in the 10th for sure.
Darren doesn't like to lose, does he?
No, he's a competitor. He's one of those guys that finds a way to win.
Good looking ball. Little wide. Little wide.
And he threw a good shot too. He trusted that one.
That was a good ball off his hand. It was right down the line, just a hair wide. Will not recover.
A spare and a strike up will give him 206. And Andy Mills is already at 195 before he enters the 10th. So
yeah, he'd have to open. Yeah, he's got to cap it now.
Once again, following this match, we're going to bid farewell to our good friend here, Mike Borowski, and I do thank you for joining us here again in the booth, as always, and maybe we can do it again next year.
I hope so. Thanks so much for having me. It's always a pleasure for our sport to do this.
But it's not over yet.
No.
We still have a lot of possibilities out there. We'll get a word with our winner when the tournament's over here.
That was good. See?
Now that I think that count even made it easier for Andy, so this is kind of a victory lap for him.
Well, considering it's his first step ladder and he's going to win, that's pretty impressive.
That is.
And he has bowled remarkably well for 2 days. I mean, really remarkably well.
Well, that'll about do it. Andy Mills is your 35th Manitoba Open champion, so congratulations to him, and Darren Hansen is going to take home $1,800 for his efforts. A very good run in the step ladder nonetheless.
Absolutely. Almost made it. Almost made it. I think this pair matched up too good for Andy on this one, so there he is. There's the winner.
All right, we'll get a word with Andy here in a minute, and I just want to say once again thank you to Mike Borowski for what you've done, and I look forward to doing it again next year.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mike.
All right.
Okay, so just give us a minute here, and we'll talk to Andy, and then we'll be on our way. Okay, we'll do a quick presentation of the trophy, and then we'll try to get a quick word with Andy Mills. The congratulations are in order for everyone. And just real quick, we on the NDBowling.com Facebook page, we did have a quick prediction sheet on the winner of the majors, and a good friend, Matt Smallin, picked Andy Mills to win this one, so shout out to him. Quite the guess. So a $3,000 win for Andy Mills and the nice Manitoba-shaped crystal trophy. Do our quick pictures. I'd like to thank everyone who tuned in today on another good show here at NDBowlTV. Let's give us a quick minute and we'll visit with our champion.
Give you the 10. 14-10, attaboy. Actually, we need the 14 only. Because we're split. Good player.
Okay, I'd like to welcome into NDBowlTV Manitoba Open champion Andy Mills. Welcome.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you.
Yeah, we talked to your good friend Nick out in Sioux Falls after you were the top qualifier there, but you managed to get this one. How was your look yesterday? How was it today? It looked like you had a really good look out there today compared to yesterday.
Yeah, today, the bowlers refer to it as the nuts. Today I just had it all. And it was kind of comparable to yesterday, but yesterday I just had 6 more bowlers per pair, sometimes 7, sometimes 8, and it just broke down so much quicker. Today didn't break down late in the lane, and I was able to just stay in the same spot with the same ball all day long.
It seemed like out of all the righties, you were farther right, like your break point was a lot farther right, and you had a more consistent reaction that way.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different up here in Canada with the ability to change the surface of the bowling ball after every game, and I did that. I grabbed my Everlon pad at 1,000, hit that ball fresh after every game, and it was a consistent look, and I never had to move off it.
Very nice. So you took home $3,000 for your efforts. We did mention that you were throwing the Brunswick Nirvana, correct?
Correct. All day except for maybe 1-2 shots with a fill ball here and there, and that was the go-to ball. Even yesterday to start the first 5 games, I used the Brunswick Nirvana as well.
Wow. Okay, so one kind of last question. We touched upon it on the show quite a bit. Coming up to Winnipeg, the lanes are a little bit different. The heads kind of burn up a little quicker. The ball's reaction down lane kind of floats a little more. How did you combat that?
It kind of refers to back. Nick was helping me back at the our home center and our house shot on Wednesday nights, and we don't like to get the ball outside of 10. And if you start getting that ball outside of 10 back home, it just tapers off, and it kind of does the same thing here. If you get it outside of 10, that break point starts to go straighter down the lane like you talked about, and it's going to 2-pin at best. So keeping my angles tighter, getting that ball to roll early, and just kind of in the surface on the ball was just the key. Today, that was able to get that back end off of that tight back end that everybody looked like they had today. Absolutely.
You raced out to a pretty big lead, and you made the show by over 100 pins over second, so it seemed like it was pretty easy for you out there.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? Minot next weekend?
Minot next weekend, and I know you're going, and two for two on the shows with you today. We're going to try to make it a perfect 3 for 3.
Absolutely. We saw Andy out in Sioux Falls back in November, and maybe we'll see you again in Minot. So congratulations on the win. First time major winner.
Thank you, Darren. Have a good one.
Yep, thank you. All right, I would like to thank everyone for watching NDBowlTV and our coverage of the 35th Manitoba Open. Once again, next week we will be in Minot for the Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout, the 13th annual. So please visit us then on Sunday. Once again, you're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network.